Let's talk about credit and credit scores. So credit score is generally the bank's measurement of your reliability as a borrower. The bank is giving you money. What are the chances of you paying them back? This is the analogy I like to put. Let's say a random person comes to you on the street and asks you to borrow $100. And they tell you, I'll meet you next week on the same corner and pay you back with interest. Do you really think that person may come back and pay you? Versus your best friend calls you up and says, can you borrow me $100? You probably have a good sense that your best friend most likely will pay you back. This is the same situation that lending institutions deal with in lending money. So that's how the credit system was developed. So credit scores generally ranges on the low end of 300 up to 850. If you don't have any credit, you have 0. So on the lower end of 300 is the lowest score, and the highest end of 850 is the highest score. The higher your score, the better your odds of paying back to the lending institution. So there are 5 factors that affect your credit score. The first most major factor is payment history. It generally accounts for 35% of your credit score. So having an account sent to collections, all of this is collected in your payment history and can negatively impact your credit score. So pay your bills on time. Number 2, we have amounts owed, which is about 30%. Do you tend to max out your credit line? If your credit line, let's say, is about $1,000 and you use up $800, you have used up 80% of your credit line. Your credit score will go down. The lending institutions want to see you use generally 30% or less. That shows that you're responsible with the monies that you've been lent. So number 3 is the length of credit history. That generally accounts for about 15% of your credit score. So the longer you hold a card, the better. Do not cancel any late credit cards. Do not cancel any cards that you have had. Just keep it. It doesn't hurt anybody. The longer you keep your credit card, the better. The banks want to mitigate their risk by looking at your history. Are you good with making payments on time? How long have you had this card? The best predictor of future events is past events. So keep your credit cards for as long as you can, if you're not paying any fees on it. If there's an annual fee, that's another day, another topic. Then 10% of your credit is affected by the types of credit that you have. Do you have student loans? Do you have auto loans? Do you have bank cards? Do you have credit cards? Having a good mix of all of these helps the bank know that you're good with paying down various types of loans, and that accounts for about 10% of your credit history. Now, the last portion is new credit, for about 10%. Are you constantly getting credit card ads in your mail? Don't keep applying for it. When the lending institutions see that you're constantly applying for credit cards every month or here and there, it negatively affects your credit score. So don't be in a rush to constantly apply for new cards. How does credit score affect you in purchasing a home? Now, we have the 4 types of loans. We have the FHA, we have conventional, we have USDA, and we have VA. Now, when it comes to FHA, you can get an FHA loan for as low as $580. Some lenders can do $500, but the lower end of the spectrum you are, the higher your mortgage insurance is going to be. We'll talk about mortgage insurance in another video. Then we have conventional. Conventional needs a minimum of 620 to purchase. Again, the lower your score in purchasing, the higher your mortgage insurance. And then we have USDA. USDA has a strict 640 credit score requirement before lending to you because it's 0% down. There's no risk. You have no skin in the game in purchasing the house. So they have to be tight in some areas, and credit is where they're being a little bit more stringent on. Now for VA, there is no real requirement set by the Veterans Administration, but lenders generally like to see 620, but quote unquote, there's no real requirement. So how can I raise my score? First thing you do is get your free annual credit report. Go online. I believe it's freeannualcreditreport.com. Don't quote me. I'll put a link in the description below, and look at your credit profile. Look at what's on there. Are there charges? Are there things that you can dispute? Call them up and see what can be done. Another thing that you can do to really boost your credit is getting a trusted individual, a trusted loved one, and having them put you on their credit card. How does this work? You will essentially borrow their credit history. For example, my father put me on his credit card when I was in high school. And to this day, when I pull my credit profile, it shows that I have a credit card for 20 years. It's not my card, it's his card, but that history is helping me out. So the best thing to do is to get a trusted individual, a trusted loved one that has a credit card that they've had for 2 years and they've maintained good payment history. I mean, you've never missed a payment, because remember, whatever's on that profile is going to affect you. Have them put you on as an authorized user, and within a couple of months, you should see a boost in your credit. Now, another tip that I think can also help is I'm connected to various lenders. The best person that can tell you about your credit score is a lender. Have them pull your credit and run what they call a simulator to tell you what you can do to possibly boost your score. I have one lender that is very spot on. He can run it and he can tell you exactly what to do and how to do it, and your score will go up. So here it is. That's credit explained. You generally want to have a credit score of 640. That is ideal. You can buy at 580, but it's not going to help you out. You're going to pay more mortgage insurance, and we could just figure out a way to get your score in the higher ranges. So that's all I've got. If you're looking to purchase a house this year, if you want to talk about anything related to real estate, please shoot me a text, give me a call. I would love to be of assistance. Thank you for listening.